Gregory, you want to slate with me? We'll clap together.
Sure.
3, 2, 1. That was great. Gregory Porter in the studio.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How you doing?
Wonderful.
Yeah?
Wonderful, yeah.
I'm so stoked that you're here.
Thank you, yes. What took y'all so long? No.
Right. I'm into that. Right. Put us on our place. That's good. Where are you from?
I am from Bakersfield, California.
California, West Coast guy.
Yeah, I lived in Brooklyn for over 10 years in between that, but California has been my home for the majority of my life. Yeah.
Did music take you to Brooklyn?
Music, finding myself, finding my voice, particularly trying to concentrate just on music. I was doing theater, doing music in theater, but just solely concentrating on music is what took me to Brooklyn and to Harlem and to all of the wonderful jazz clubs and jazz musicians in New York, yeah.
I love New York. You go into some random basement and see the best jazz players you've ever heard.
It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. Shockingly extraordinary.
It is. And I'm intrigued, too. I feel like I have seen... Struggle feels like maybe a little bit of an intense word. But for people to break out of the theater scene and start their own solo project tends to be a difficult thing. How did you navigate that process?
Struggle is the right word.
Yeah?
Yeah. I had to start brand new. I mean, nobody really cared that I had been quite lucky to find myself on Broadway and then a couple of shows. But in jazz, nobody cares. They were like, what can you do?
Sure.
So I had to start from scratch, from the bottom, and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of jam sessions, singing my songs, gathering my confidence, my voice, my sound, what it is I wanted to say, all of the things that you have to do to have an individual, unique sound in music, period, not just the genre of jazz. I had to find myself, find my voice, and what it is I wanted to say. And I did that in that time, going to the little jazz clubs in New York. My special place was in Harlem, a little club called St. Nick's Pub. I was on 149th and St. Nicholas. And I had a weekly gig there, and I became to, just fall in love with the people, the energy, the Harlem Nights, and that informed a lot of my music. The suggestions that came from the audience, from the people, from the street, informed really the cream that rise to the top for me. You could pay $3 and nurse a beer and stay and listen to music all night at this particular club. Many of the clubs in New York City, a night of jazz can cost $100, $120, per set. And that wasn't the case for St. Nick's Pub. And so a lot of the locals, Harlemites, really just was, hey, sing that song. What's that one? Be Good. Sing that 1960 what again? Yeah, I want to hear that. And they wanted to hear my originals, which made me say, yes, okay, so maybe I have something with my own writing. Another thing that also that this place informed was the connection, my just rooted connection to Black American culture, and quite frankly, the explosion of it that comes from Harlem. That is the jazz, the dance, the writing, the feeling of Harlem. So there was that, and just quite frankly, the place you're in, the environment you're in, the venue that you're in, can inform the way you deliver even. And so being rooted in Harlem on my genesis of my career was really important. Yeah.
You talking about Harlem's making me miss New York so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I do. I do miss New York.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. It's really interesting to see how you informed the tapestry of New York and vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. You mentioned how you found your voice kind of, or at least found your own power through this response from people, from the Harlemites. I
Yeah.
love Harlemites. That's great.
Yeah.
Do you think that, did you not have that own self-confidence going into it? Or did you need that kind of reception to see that value in your own
Well,
music?
I it has to do with even my personality. I had a really good voice since I was 6 years old. And so it wasn't about holding the notes and singing. I could sing. It was the material. It was, can I put my gospel roots? My mother was a minister. I grew up singing in the church. And so can I put my gospel roots in with my jazz understanding? Can I mix those two? Am I going to get in trouble? You know, there's some rules in jazz and you're
Yeah.
not supposed to break them. And I was like, can I do that? And so, and it was that Harlem audience that informed me that, like, not only can you do it, we want more of it. And so when I had the opportunity to honor those people in a song, I did it. Quite frankly, they find themselves in many of my songs. But on my way to Harlem, I wrote on the train going to that gig, you know, from Brooklyn to Harlem. I found out on my way to Harlem, you know. So that energy and those people are in that song. I forget your question. You were like, you said,
I'm on your train of thought. I don't even remember what I said. I think it was just about the self-confidence that you gained with reception from other people.
Right. So yes, week after week, they started to request my songs. And again, you know, before a Grammy nomination, before a record deal, before it was them. And yes, it was my family. Yes, it was my mama who stood me up in the living room when I was 6, 8, 10. It was all of those things. But on a professional level, you know, the Harlem Street has seen everything. They've heard everything. They heard Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan and Lou Rawls and Leon Thomas, and you know, I could go on and on and on. And sometimes they would come up to me and say, "Yeah, Porter, you know, you know, keep on doing what you're doing." And that's the push that I needed.
Yeah.
I have a natural shyness to my person. And so they were pushing me. And another thing that happened in this little, you know, really what it was a black jazz dive bar. People from all over the world would also come. So there were people from Japan. And I particularly remember people from Germany, Italy, the UK. And they would always ask me, when are you coming? When are you coming to London? When are you coming to Sicily? When are you coming to Tokyo? And I was like, I don't even have a passport yet. And the first stamp on my passport was Ukraine.
Oh, wow.
Ukraine. And then that same tour, we were hopping back and forth from Russia and Ukraine. So, yeah.
That's incredible. How would you compare the validation from Harlemites, from people on the ground, to the validation you get from the Academy, from the Grammys? How would you compare those two?
They were both extremely important to me, watershed moments. The Grammy nomination the first time was super important.
Yeah.
The fantastic thing is that St. Nick's Pub, the pub, celebrated right along with me. And when I got that Grammy nomination and I walked in the door that next week, you know, it was like, you know, oh, you know, and it was, so I took them there with me. And so they watched my journey and so it was really great. Unfortunately, it burned down and it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, dang.
But it was really something. But my Grammy nomination was how shall we say, a stamp of approval, a a gust of wind in terms of the direction that I was going with my music, encouragement on my original writing. Funny kind of a story. It was I had tons of advice for my first record, and all of it was to do music that already exists. Which is great, and I love the Book of Standards. I love that music. I had been doing that music for years and years, and I still do. But again, it was the people that was just really encouraged by my voice, my expressions, that I didn't exactly tell the record company where I was recording. I took the money and ran. I went to the studio and I recorded the songs, and I gave them the project afterwards. Not song by song, and that way, I didn't have any interruption in terms of doing my own music. But yeah, it was. That first Grammy nomination was really special to me, my career, my family, my confidence, and the whole nine.
You mentioned growing up in the church.
Yeah.
What was your denomination?
Church of God in Christ, Kojic.
Kojic.
Which is, yes, it's this holiness is Southern hardcore preaching, really spirited singing, lots of music.
Love.
Yeah.
Love. And your mom was a minister.
My mom was a minister. And we always had small churches, not big churches with giant choirs. There were some choirs over the years, but really the choir was my family, me and, my 7 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
That was the choir.
Yeah.
And I was her number one soloist. So I would go with her on special speaking engagements and singing all the time, singing in people's living rooms, always singing. So I could always just close my eyes and feel the emotion and the spirit in the music. And that emotion, that tenderness that can come in a way singing in seeking the face of God is something that you try to replicate.
Yeah.
In secular music or any other music that you're doing. This is what you hear from Al Green. This is what you hear from Luther Vandross. This is what you hear, that sound, what is that Ray Charles is doing? What is that? That is, you sang a music that was so intensely emotional, and now muscle memory and real emotion can make you do that when you sing a love song. And so it's but it's not just, this is not just black people. This is going to the place that has brought you most emotion and coupling that with your music. And if you put emotions into your music without question, no matter the tone, timbre, even quality of your voice, the human heart cannot help but be struck by it. And so this is why we have so many different timbres, sounds, colors, and it all can be appealing, because when it's delivered with honesty and real emotion,
I just loved that.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure you bookmark that in the interview, because I would like to run that back and listen to it over and over and over. That was good to me. That really was.
Yeah, it's the truth for me. I'm only speaking exactly what's good for me, and this is not theoretical. This is real. Yeah.
And so when somebody goes to a Gregory Porter show,
Yeah.
are you ministering to them?
Well, yes. I don't know why. My mother was so deep in the pulpit. She was extraordinary. She was a great preacher. She, let it be a secret, she could out-preach most of the men in my city, but but there is an element of that there is an element of that. There is an element of that. Yes, yes. But it is, I, for me, I have a message but just love, just love in all of its forms and colors, even confused love and jealousy and all of these things, the human condition. I just want people to feel something and to feel sometimes lifted, encouraged, optimistic about love, understanding the dangers and the forces that come against love, without question. I never write a sappy love song without considering the opposite energy. There's some doubt that's out about this love, but I won't let it be. There will be no love dying here for me. Vultures are flying around the ramparts of the towers of our love. Don't it sound sweet? Our love. So basically, I'm telling you, there's danger out there, but be strong in your confidence that you have about love. You know, so I'm they're not just pie in the sky sweet. You know, this is listen. I understand you are a soldier and you're battling, but you're battling the forces that come against love. Yeah.
Gosh, I'm a fan.
Yeah, but thank you.
I'm just a fan.
Yeah, and we as we were talking before we turned on the cameras, in that same vein, in a song that I've written called "Painted on Canvas."
One of my faves. Truly one of my faves.
Yeah, that song was written from a painful experience, by being called out of my name, being called names, and being judged and being mistreated because of the color of my skin. And, step back and admire my view. It really is. It's a way to using music as a way to buttress yourself and give yourself strength and give other people strength in this life and in this love. Yeah.
You very much feel like a vessel. It just really does flow from you. It really does.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm 3 inches off the ground. Really am. And I feel like your mission to translate this emotion is, you get it from your recorded music. I couldn't be more excited to hear you live today. I feel spoiled. I really do. I really do. Are there any artists, any acts that are around right now that you think people should be turned on to?
Wow.
Now or before?
Ooh-wee. Yeah. Oh, but my brain is so bad.
I get
in
it.
terms of, who was I? I was hanging. I had an opportunity to sing for Princess Kate in London recently, and I was with Olivia Dean. And yeah, I've been digging her music. I've been digging her music. Time? Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, she's cold.
So
she's cold-blooded, right?
She is.
She's cold-blooded. Super young, super energetic, super beautiful, super, and she came to me and I was like, yo, girl, what you talking about? I'm trying to get your autograph,
right. That song with Leon Bridges. Yeah. That's where you started.
Right.
She's so good.
Right. She's dope. Leon Bridges, you just said it.
Yeah.
That's another bad brother. There's a lot of great music, and people, the idea that this that the DNA of Minnie Riperton or the DNA of Donny Hathaway or the DNA of Aretha Franklin has just disappeared. It's not so. It's just, you just need to sort through and find it. It's there. Like, Quiet as It's Kept, really, if Billie Eilish wanted to be a jazz singer, she would be so dope. She's already got the vibe. And I saw her. It was just on social media. I saw her working with Christian McBride. I don't know what the project was or what the product was, but if she wanted to, and she does, quite frankly, from time to time within her music,
you can hear it. Yeah,
uses the nomenclature of jazz. So. Yeah, it's all just a beautiful thing, man. I consider myself, and I am a jazz singer, but I love music and all of its expression and the way that it It explains and it gives us a roadmap to this human condition, this life, this love, these worries, these insecurities, self-doubt. Yeah, and ultimately triumph, hopefully, over all things.
Yeah, yeah. Direct to camera. I'm with that. Before I met you, I was a fan, and now I feel more like a follower. I really do.
Man.
So I'm just so stoked to hear you sing, and I'm so grateful that you had some time to come in and be with us today, Gregory. Thank you.
Thank you, man. It's a real pleasure.
Yeah, I want to shake your hand. Let me touch a little bit of that. Yeah. Studio sessions and exclusive content you're not going to find anywhere else. Follow, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and social media to stay up to date with your next favorite artist.